I wanted to spend a little bit of time really exploring this idea of the relationship between theory and social welfare practice or social welfare intervention. And so in order to do this, I'm going to supplement Hicks' material with some material from Bob Mullaly, who's an important Canadian social work scholar. In Mullaly's book, Challenging Oppression and Confronting Privilege, the second edition, he challenges us to think about the fact that social workers do not do a very good job of defining the concept of social problems. In fact, we maintain a very ambiguous understanding of what this term means. By virtue of accepting this kind of unclear concept, we are in some ways normalizing the presence of social problems in our society. Mullaly, being an idealist, suggests to us that in fact there may be the potential to create a society where social problems don't exist. But as long as we normalize and accept the fact that social problems do exist, and see these as something that social workers can fix on an individual basis, and sometimes at the systemic level, we are perpetuating the presence of these things in our society. And so he presents to us a kind of conversation that he had while he participated in a radio talk show panel about workfare as a way of considering this idea. Through this conversation, he also invites us to think about the importance of political ideology in shaping our responses to social problems and in shaping our social welfare programs and services. Now, Hicks already presented some of this material from a very theoretical perspective, but Mullaly gives us a little bit of a pragmatic example. And so I'm going to read some material from his text and illustrate that material with some additional information through this digital story. And so I'd like to present you with a reading of Parking Lots and Social Problems from page 7 of the book I mentioned. So Mullaly tells us that a few years ago he was invited to participate in a radio panel which discussed the issue of workfare and unemployment. He suggests that the panel was composed of a number of different experts in the field who each represented their own particular understanding about the issue of workfare and framed workfare in unique ways. He tells us that one panel member attributed people's unemployment and unemployed persons as being irresponsible. They were described as shy or fearful of work and dependent on social assistance. And therefore, this person advocated a tough, mandatory, and simple work for welfare scheme. A second panel member attributed people's unemployment to a lack of education and job skills, and advocated a workfare program that would emphasize training and job search counseling. My position, Mullaly tells us, was quite different from the other panel members. He argued that as long as there were more people looking for work and needing work than there were jobs, then workfare would not decrease unemployment or reduce the cost of welfare. He describes an analogy that he used while he was on the panel, an analogy of a parking lot. He argued that if a parking lot has only 100 spaces, and there are 120 cars that need to be parked, then parking attendants can shift cars in and out of the lot all day, but there will always be 20 cars that remain outside of the lot unless the size of the lot is expanded. Mullaly argued that one could blame unemployed people for unemployment, or blame unemployment on a lack of skills and education. But until the labor market, like the parking lot, was enlarged enough to accommodate everyone who needed and wanted work, there will always be people left out, and workfare doesn't do anything to make the labor market bigger.